Hello everyone and welcome. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Sarasota. And happy Mother's Day. You know, we are here to support you in finding a personal relationship with the God of your understanding and in discovering what you already know. I'm Reverend Karen Wolfson, the founding minister and spiritual leader of the Center for Spiritual Living Sarasota. And I greet you with Namaste. Namaste is Sanskrit, and it means the divinity in me recognizes and honors the divinity in you. Now let's begin by joining our voices from wherever you are to read aloud our vision and our mission. The words can be seen on your screen. Our vision is empowering spiritual growth as a loving, inclusive, worldwide community. Our mission: we teach science of mind principles and other life-affirming spiritual truths. We explore, learn, grow, connect, honoring all paths to God. We offer in-person and online weekly services, classes, workshops, and affirmative prayer support and other spiritual tools. We create opportunities for joyful social connection, community outreach, and service. And we celebrate the awakening of our innate spiritual magnificence. And now I invite you to join me in pausing and taking a few moments to go within. I encourage you to get comfortable, relax your body, close your eyes, allow your mind chatter to slow down, and your breathing to be gentle. Find your own inner stillness as Poindexter and Bob Teesdale set the tone for us with a beautiful song by Daniel Nahmad, Sacred Love.
Sacred love is all that you are. You are sacred love. Sacred love is all that you are. You are sacred love. Sacred love is all that you are. You are sacred love. Sacred love is all that you are. Show the way, God, show the way. I want to live in such a state of grace. Lead the way, God, lead the way. I want to live in such a holy place, such a holy place. You are blessed peace, blessed peace is all that you are. You are blessed peace, blessed peace is all that you are. You are blessed peace, blessed peace is all that you are. You are blessed peace, blessed peace is all that you are. Show the way, God, show the way. I want to live in such a state of grace. Lead the way, God, lead the way. I want to live in such a holy place, such a holy place. sacred love, sacred love is all that you are. You are sacred love, sacred love is all that you are. Sacred love is all that you are.
I invite you to take these affirming words into your heart. Let them refresh your spirit. Sacred love. Not only are you sacred love, but you are held and nurtured and sustained by the sacred love that God is. Each of us is embraced by the mothering spirit that flows as sacred love. It watches over us quietly, tenderly, as a mother watches over her child. In this space of sacred love, this peace that holds me so gently, I find strength and protection from all fear or anxiety. I feel the love of this holy presence. In this love and protection, every sense of fear and lack slips away from me as the mist fades in the morning light. As a child, without any hesitation, I enter into the joy of living as I trust in Spirit's eternal goodness. My faith, the faith of a little child in me, rises with expectancy to meet the new day. With the simplicity of this faith, my doubts and fears are quieted. With the faith of a little child, I place my human hand in the invisible hand of the One, and I let the miracle of divine life and sacred love enfold me. I know that all is well. All is well. And so it is. Today it is my delight to welcome our guest speaker, Reverend Laine Morgan. Reverend Laine is the senior minister of Center for Spiritual Living, Tampa Bay, and she is my dear friend and colleague. You know, from the first time I met Reverend Laine, I have so appreciated her warmth, her openness, and her authenticity. Her generous caring and spiritual support have been a beautiful gift to me on more than one occasion. And oh yes, she has a great sense of fun and adventure. Now, prior to ministry, Reverend Laine was a corporate leader and executive for 25 years. She has been a licensed spiritual practitioner for 10 years and a minister in 2 centers for spiritual living congregations. I know you'll be inspired by the loving and wise and down-to-earth practicality of her message today. It's titled, Mothering Spirit, and how appropriate for Mother's Day. But first, here again are Jay and Bob with a powerful song by Megan McDonald and Janice Stanfield, Amazing Things.
Amazing, amazing, you will do amazing things. Amazing, amazing, you will do amazing things. You will do amazing things with the choice each new day brings. And with every step you take, bless the progress that you make. The reason you leave is there in every gift you give. Love your life, love your dreams. You will do amazing things. Amazing, amazing. You will do amazing things. Amazing, amazing. You will do amazing things. Oh, the places you will go and the people you will know. Don't worry when or where or how. You don't need to know that now. You're on the right track. No need to look ahead or back. Just enjoy what this day brings. You will do amazing things. You don't have to work it out. Just stay in the here and now. Let your mind rest for a little while. Sometimes deepest answers come when you're out there having fun. So close your eyes, take a breath and smile. Amazing, amazing. You will do amazing things. 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 Amazing, amazing. You will do amazing things.
Good morning, CSL Sarasota. It is such a joy to be sharing this Sunday morning with all of you in Sarasota or wherever you may be watching from. What a beautiful morning we get to share. It's Mother's Day. And since it is Mother's Day, I want to start my lesson this morning with a reading from Khalil Gibran's The Prophet. This reading explores the mysterious connection of the parenting relationship, the spiritual basis of that connection. And the story goes that a woman who held this baby against her chest said to Khalil Gibran, "Speak to us of children." And Khalil Gibran said these profound words. He said, "Your children are not your children. They are the sons and the daughters of life longing for itself. They come through you, but they are not from you, and though they are with you, they belong not to you. You may house their bodies, but not their souls, for their souls dwell in a place of tomorrow, which you cannot visit, not even in your dreams. You can strive to be like them, but seek not to make them like you. For life goes not backward, nor tarries with yesterday. You are the bows from which your children, as living arrows, are sent forth. The archer seeks the mark upon the path of the infinite, and he bends you with his might that his arrows may go swift and far. Let your bending in the archer's hand be for gladness, for even as he loves the arrow that flies, so he loves also the bow that is stable. What an interesting look at parenting. You know, children are an important part of our lives, aren't they? You know, whether you're a parent or not, you've certainly had an impact on the lives of many children that are around you. And Khalil Gibran's words are so profound when he emphasizes that the souls of children live in the house of tomorrow. You know, that's a lovely truth. Yet as spiritual seekers, you know, I'm sure you're like me and that you have a desire to have a positive impact on those children whose lives you touch. You know, I'm a mother and I'm also a minister. And I'm a minister who teaches others about living in alignment with spiritual truth. So I thought today that I would talk to you about how I incorporated teaching spiritual laws into the parenting of my daughter, Kelsey. You know, so whether you're a mother or not, you know, I think you'll find something to relate to in this lesson. Let me just say that I took parenting very seriously in my life. You know, I struggled with infertility for several years before I finally got pregnant. And throughout that time, you know, my biggest disappointment about that was that I wouldn't be able to be a mom. You know, I was grown up as a babysitter and I love children so much. And the idea of missing out on motherhood was just heartbreaking. But finally, at the age of 30, I found myself pregnant through medical intervention. So I really, really wanted to be a mother. You know, and here we are, you know, 26 years later and a whole lot of mothering later. So you might be curious about how did I combine being a mother with my spirituality, which is a very deep part of my life. You know, I found the Science of Mind, this teaching when I was 36 and I think Kelsey was 6. But even before that, you know, I could look back and I realized that I was teaching her life skills and strategies from this spiritual perspective, even though I didn't have a name for it. And even now, you know, many of my stories and examples that I share in lessons like this or in classes or whatever are about Kelsey because she kind of went through her life applying some of these spiritual principles and they kind of became her second nature as she grew up. And so she gave me a lot of great examples to share. And since I wanted to mother her spiritually, I taught her a lot about, you know, the different laws and how life works and these principles, you know, like the law of attraction, what you pay attention to, you get more of. She's probably heard that sentence a bajillion times. And actually, she's proven that she has the ability to manifest her good, you know, pretty consistently. You know, I taught her about the power of your word. And she's quick to tell me what her intention is about the situations that she finds herself in. But I will say, you know, she's a normal adult. She's a young adult. And I've gotten so many eye rolls over the years. And I still get them even today if, you know, if I launch too much into a lecture about how the universe works or whatever. Or if I turn, you know, to a positive perspective too quickly, you know, she'll just whine and say she just wants to complain a little bit more like a normal person. I get that. But today I want to share some of the things that I taught her about two very important spiritual laws. The first is the law of forgiveness, and the second one is the law of sacrifice. If you haven't read the book, Working with the Law by Raymond Hollowell, I recommend it because in this book, it's an essential book, and he writes about many spiritual laws. But I chose these two because I realized that they were pretty foundational to my mothering. And I think they're important enough to remind us all of them today. You know, my talk title today, the lesson title is Mothering Spirit. And I use that phrase because you can look at it kind of two ways. You know, I want to talk about our inner spirit that mothers, but also the role we all play, male or female, mother or father, in mothering the spirit in others. And we all have a mothering spirit, and we all have the role of being a mothering spirit. So with that set up, I want to dive into these two laws. The first, as I said, is the law of forgiveness. Okay, so first of all, let me stress that I believe that life is all about relationships. Okay, the quality of your relationships really speaks to the quality of your life. You know, if you're not peaceful in relationship to the people around you, your life itself can never be at peace. And here's the deal. The whole thing about relationships starts the day you're born. And technically it starts with your mother, your birth mother first, and then whatever person nurtured you when you were young. So let's jump right into that big old puddle of forgiveness lessons. Speaking of the law of forgiveness. So one of the primary relationships we get to work on our stuff with is the relationship with our mother. And that can be a doozy. Oh my goodness, right? You know what I think? You know why I think that is? I think the relationships that contain the most opportunities for growth are the ones in which we carry the most expectations. And great expectations can lead to great disappointments, can they? And in every disappointment, there lies the lesson of forgiveness. You know, the members of our family of origin, our mother, our father, our siblings, whoever, you know, you grew up with in the house, those are really weighty relationships that we are often doing our biggest spiritual evolutionary work within them, you know. And since it's Mother's Day, let's focus on that particular relationship for our example. You know, our expectations about our mothers kind of come in from every angle. We have physical expectations of them, you know, that they won't abandon us, and then they'll nurture and they'll feed us and clothe us consistently, and that they are strong and healthy physically, these physical expectations. And then we have emotional expectations that they will lift us up emotionally and be compassionate and unconditionally loving and accepting. And we have mental expectations that they'll be smarter than we are and teach us everything we need to know, you know, to manage our lives and thrive in the world. And let's not forget our expectations that they're going to be fair and equitable within the family, you know, expectations that they are financially and logistically supportive. And then we have to layer on all these societal expectations that are placed on mothering, and that they measure up to these TV moms that we see, or these public moms. And we grow further expectations on our moms as we compare them to our friends' moms. There are just so many disappointments just waiting to happen, aren't there? And for most of us, we didn't have to wait very long to start feeling some disappointments with our mother. Here's the deal. The only requirement necessary to be a mother is the ability to carry a child. And most of our mothers were quite young when they created us, weren't they? You know, it was not uncommon for my mother's generation to start having children in their late teen years. It's not uncommon for our mother's generations to have very little support from fathers in their upbringing. They were winging it, right? And let's not forget that they were in the middle of their own life lessons, their own evolution when we came into the picture. So Kelsey, my daughter, she's 26. She's 3 years older than my mother was when I was born, and I was baby number 2, right? So sometimes I do the math and I figure out, okay, how old was my mom when such and such happened, right? When I got so angry about some decision she made, or some issue that arose, or some mistake I felt she made, you know, most of those things occurred when I was between the ages of like 7 and 17, and she was in her 30s. I know how evolved I was not in my 30s. Not much evolved at all, right? And so our disappointments are about these unmet expectations. But remember my definition of forgiveness. And I'll share that with you. My definition of forgiveness is the acceptance that the past could not and should not have been different. Forgiveness, the acceptance that the past could not and should not have been different. So that relationship with my mother, the relationship with your mother, they were all exactly as they should have been. Forgiveness is the acceptance of that. Forgiveness is the acceptance that we're all here on this planet to release our fears and evolve toward greater wholeness in this lifetime, not to live some kind of cookie cutter perfect life. And I believe that our earliest relationships set up those fears and those lessons. They contribute to our evolution because our early relationships are the most powerful ones. And I think our woundings and our issues from childhood are often the very lessons that we continue to face over and over again throughout our lifetimes. And they're often the lessons that we come to spirituality seeking a spiritual solution for. You remember when I listed all those expectations we place on our moms, right? Physical, financial, emotional, mental, all that. Well, what about our spiritual expectations of her? If we look at it from a spiritual perspective, we need our mothers to help us get ready for our evolutionary journey. We need her to play her part perfectly so that we can grow. If we're going to work on our karmic fears, our lessons of abandonment or abuse or respect or honesty, loyalty, unconditional love, neglect, dependency, whatever they are, perhaps our mothers must be less than our expectations in order for us to get going on our journey of healing. That's another way to look at it. And what if all of our relationships are that way? What if every single person we encounter along the way is there for us, waiting to reflect ourselves back to us, ready to play their part in our lessons? If we attract what we are, we must trust that we are attracting to us the very relationships that we require to be what we are. And when we're ready to be a higher version of ourselves, we will attract the very relationships that we require to work on being that, right? So forgiveness is about recognizing the perfection of every situation, every person in the situation, and just allowing it to be. Forgiveness is about freeing up that energy that is kind of stuck in an old situation through the power of our minds. Our minds look backward and they replay any situation that we still have energy in, situations we've not fully forgiven. And we relive those conversations and situations, don't we? We try to think of things we could have said or could have done, or things that we wish the other person would have said or done. And thought energy just kind of swirls in and around that. And it depletes the energy that we have for this moment because we're kind of stuck in the past. I'm reminded that in the Bible, there are many stories where forgiveness and physical healing are tied together. In stories of Jesus, there would be this message of go and sin no more, accompanying a physical transformation. And our current understanding of mental health and the impact of our negative thoughts on our physical body, those support the biblical stories, don't they? There's this basic understanding that the stress of guilt and shame and anger, they all have these powerful negative energy vibrations that are going to show up in our bodies as illness. Forgiveness is powerful to do around the work of physical healing because stress reduction is always a part of healing. Hollowell says the law of forgiveness stresses that certain ideas must be dissolved and cleared from the mind in order that other ideas or new ideas of a different character may replace them. He goes on to say that it can be explained as a bottle that is already full. That bottle's got to be emptied before it can be refilled or added to with something else. Forgiveness is emptying the bottle. Everyone must at some time walk this path of forgiveness. We must learn to live this law. Only as we forgive are we forgiven. Only as we release others from the prison of the past in our minds can we release ourselves from that very same jail cell. So in mothering Kelsey, I taught a lot about forgiveness, and a whole bunch of teaching of this law was done through showing her my own forgiveness examples. And the greatest example really was in a forgiveness lesson involving my mother, okay? So when Kelsey was around 8, my mother and I had this very big disagreement, and we didn't find our way out of it for several years. I was so disappointed. And our relationship changed the entire dynamic in our family. We really were stuck in a pattern of pain and confusion. The details of the circumstances really aren't that important to the lesson, but Kelsey got to watch as me and her grandmother worked on this and worked on this. We tried many different ways of communicating and negotiating and accepting a new normal. And a breakthrough occurred when I asked for a higher spiritual perspective when I was working with a spiritual healer. And he was finally able to help me see the entire situation from a life lesson perspective. And I could see how releasing this whole situation through forgiveness was the highest possibility. So slowly, my mother and I began to rebuild our relationship. Guess who got to witness all of it? Kelsey. The messiness and the breakthrough. I understood the law of forgiveness, but applying it to this part of my life was a long learning process. The best news is that last month, my mother came to visit me and we celebrated her 80th birthday together. This law really works. So now when Kelsey is in the middle of a friendship struggle or any other situation that there's an issue in a relationship, she knows that we've got to accept our own human messiness, forgiving ourselves and the other person. And that's the only path to freedom. It's the law. And the second spiritual law that was a big part of parenting was teaching the law of sacrifice. So Hollowell writes about this law, and he says, the beginning of wisdom is not imposed by discipline, but the beginning of wisdom is first the desire for discipline, the love of it, the voluntary choice of it. Discipline is the high road that makes life worth living. The law of sacrifice is about character. So the law of sacrifice is at play whenever anyone achieves mastery of anything. If you go to a concert or you see this beautiful work of art or observe someone living an inspired life, you're going to be seeing the law of sacrifice on display. Because all of us have our talents, all of us have gifts and abilities, but whenever you have reached the level of mastery, you have lived the law of sacrifice. These big final displays of talent, they don't come by chance or accident, but from discipline. Discipline that is consciously chosen, ardently desired, and patiently persisted in, as Hollowell would put it. The law of sacrifice says that something always has to be sacrificed for something else to be attained. And that seems a bit counter to what we typically teach around here, but everything is an energy exchange. Okay, so Hollowell says, we kind of go to the counter of life and say, I will give you this life if you will give me this. So sacrifice is about participating in this natural exchange of life energy, right? No matter what we want of life, we have to give up something in order to get it. We're sacrificing every day of our lives, whether we're aware of it or not. And so naturally, I wanted my daughter to be a success in whatever she pursued. And like all kids, she tried a lot of different things. But it wasn't until she picked up writing for pleasure that I saw her engage the law of sacrifice. It was in writing that she consciously and freely chose to discipline herself to write and write and write. She desired the opportunity to write, and she was patiently persisting in writing with discipline. I couldn't choose it for her. She had to choose it herself. That's the law. So what did she exchange? What did she sacrifice? So in order for her to have a completed novel, 42 chapters long, she had to exchange hours and hours of energy and time. She sacrificed mental energy. Primarily she was in relationship with her characters, who I also grow to know and love over the years. And she majored in creative writing in college and has many smaller pieces of work too. And she's well into 2 other novels, right? But to be a writer, she had to choose it consciously and consistently and sacrifice all other possible choices. As a mom, I wanted her to understand that things just don't happen by magic. Books don't write themselves, right? If she wants to be a writer, she's got to simply write. She must participate in the law of sacrifice. It's the truth for all of us because it is the law. Discipline is the key. And discipline of thought, it's got to be the most important part. We've got to train our minds, train our thoughts. You can't attain your ambitions until you learn to discipline your mental energy and control your thinking. The law says that your mind must be in harmony with divine mind. In other words, you must see yourself and all of life as the perfection that it is. Divine mind only knows order, only knows balance. Our minds have got to be brought into alignment with this in a disciplined way. So many times people are curious about the magic, of career success and financial stability. The vast majority of the people I know who have inspiring lives have dedicated themselves to their craft or their career or their business for years. They've studied and mastered something and fully engaged in a huge exchange of energy, physical exertion, tons of time, financial investment, mental energy, sweat equity. All these things have got to be invested before they start seeing the flow of resources back to them. They've thought constantly of their own success and their rightful place in the world, and it's the law responding to them, and they inspire us. The law of sacrifice says that you must live in alignment with your ideals. If your ideal is a healthy relationship and a normal life, you've got to sacrifice the freedom to act in anger. You've got to sacrifice the desire to hold a grudge, to be judgmental, right? If your ideal is physically amazing body functioning, you must sacrifice, that hot fudge sundae that you want, or probably smoking too, You can't fool the law. And as I said, success is first the desire for discipline. There's this old Jewish proverb that says, God couldn't be everywhere, so he created mothers. I think that rings true for both of these laws that we covered today. Our mothers are teaching us throughout our relationship with them. Sometimes they teach us by being in alignment with these and other laws, and sometimes they teach us by allowing us to witness them being out of alignment with laws. And even if they are no longer on this physical plane, they are likely still teaching us and mothering us from their current expression. So my mom will probably watch this talk. She lives in Seattle, so I'll say to her, Happy Mother's Day, Mom. Thank you for being proud of me. My daughter's in Atlanta, and she won't watch, and she would likely even roll her eyes at the suggestion of it. But I also thank her on this Mother's Day for making me a mom. It's been a big part of my journey, those two relationships. I believe that the life that I live is the sacred, eternal dance between a mother and her children. And we all have our own version of the story of this dance. I got to tell my story today in the role of minister, and perhaps you don't get to tell your story very often as you speak to others. So I invite you this day to speak your story of the sacred dance that mothering has played in your life. Perhaps it is the story of your own mother, or perhaps it's the story of being a mother. Perhaps it's the story of a mother you know. Regardless, there is a sacred spiritual dimension to the dances we have done in this role. Recognize that sacredness today on Mother's Day and always. Namaste. And so it is.
Everybody's somebody's child. Everybody's had someone who gave them their first smile. Everybody's been rocked to sleep, had to be taught how to use their feet. Everybody's somebody's child. How can we hate others for their race when we all came from exactly the same starting place? We all had to be burped and fed, all had soft spots on our heads. We all came from the same place. It's hard to believe we all start out open wide. What happened to change us? Is it pain, or is it really pride? Everybody's somebody's child. Everybody's had days when they ran wild. So when someone's been doing you wrong, it might help you to get along if you remember everybody's somebody's child. It's hard to believe we all start out so open wide. What happened to change us? Is it pain? Or is it really pride? Everybody's somebody's child. Everybody's had some days when they ran wild. So when someone's been telling you lies, you might feel better if you realize everybody's somebody's child. No matter how we play the game, we were given life just the same. Everybody's somebody's child.
Oh, thank you, Jay and Bob. What a great song for Mother's Day especially. Your music always blesses us and always enhances the message so beautifully. And speaking of the message, thank you, Reverend Laine, for your elegant reminder of the mothering spirit of the infinite. A perfect message for Mother's Day. Thank you so much. Now, everyone, here at the Center for Spiritual Living Sarasota, we want you to know that we're available to support you in knowing the power and presence of your spiritual essence. And so we offer support through prayer, inspiration, encouragement, and opportunities for virtual community and connection. And we appreciate so much your financial gifts in support of us so that we can continue to offer support to you. Now, there are 3 simple ways to share your gift. On your screen, you'll see our website where you can select the donate button, which allows you to contribute via PayPal or credit card, or you can mail a check to our address shown on the website. Or you can set up automatic contributions through your own online banking. Our website is www.cslsarasota.com. And now I invite you to take your virtual gift in your hand and place it over your heart, blessing it as you share it. And know with me, my gift goes forth to heal, to bless, and to prosper, and the divine flow returns it to me multiplied abundantly. And please join me in our offering affirmation, which is shown on your screen. I give thanks that I may share of my good, my love, and my support. And thank you so much. Now, by now you know we're offering something very special, something new. It is a series of free 1-hour workshops titled Healthy Mind plus Healthy Body equals Healthy Life. And this series features 3 members of our spiritual community sharing their amazing expertise, their wisdom, and insights. April's workshop, titled Living in the Flow, featured Dr. Harvey Kelsis, Doctor of Chinese Medicine and Acupuncture. If you missed that one, the recording is available through our Facebook page and YouTube channel. And wrapping up this series in June, the topic will be Getting Unstuck, the keys to unlocking your true potential. And that'll be with Ron Frost, a life coach, author, speaker, and licensed spiritual practitioner. And this coming Saturday, May 15th at 10 a.m., is the second workshop in our series, Creating an Effective Habitual Thought Foundation with Lisa Lazard. Lisa asks, have you heard the phrase, just think positively? Well, she goes on to say, we are creatures of habit, and breaking a thought habit can be extremely difficult. In creating a new habitual thought foundation, you'll learn specifically how to break an old thought habit and how to put a new thought process in its place. You will learn how to make that new thought process your new thought habit. Your perspective of yourself and the world is everything in your life. Consciously determine that for yourself. Join Lisa Lazard, PhD, life coach this Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time via Zoom. Sign up through our newsletter on our website or Facebook or Eventbrite for this amazing workshop. Now, would you like prayer support or do you have a request? On our website at www.cslsarasota.com, notice the green prayer request button, and that allows you to send us your prayer request. Our 4 licensed spiritual practitioners, Kathleen Frankert, Ron Frost, Jim Grove, and Jaron Nelson, stand by ready to know and affirm spiritual truth with and for you, no matter the situation. And did you know these gifted practitioners are also available for spiritual coaching by sessions, by appointment. These offer the opportunity to explore a deeper understanding and practical application of the spiritual truth that eclipses your problem or challenging issue. For more information, check out their page at our website by selecting the Staff tab on the left. And now, would you like news of other upcoming events? Well, sign up for our weekly email newsletter here on our website, or you can do it or click on our Facebook link. And I have 2 more reminders. Pop-up prayers with our spiritual practitioner, Jaron Nelson. These are 5 to 10 minute videos focusing on a particular topic with a short reading, an affirmative prayer, and an affirmation to take with you. Now, these videos are posted once a week on our Facebook page, our YouTube channel, and in our weekly e-newsletter. And Jaron welcomes hearing from you regarding prayer topics that you would like her to use. Just send yours to her email on your screen. Also, you can scroll through the topics addressed in previously posted pop-up prayers to find the encouragement and support you need at any given moment. And finally, so popular, every Wednesday from 7 to 8 p.m., our spiritual living circles via Zoom and open to all. Facilitated by licensed spiritual practitioner Jim Grove, this is a great time to connect in community. These circles are informal, inspiring, thought-provoking, and free. Email Jim Grove at the address on your screen to receive this week's Zoom link, the discussion questions, and a copy of the Science of Mind magazine article to be discussed. This week, it will be the article titled, Our Holy, Holy Uprising for Justice. That's WHOLLY, Our Holy, and then HOLY, Holy, Uprising for Justice. Great article. And now, as we conclude this sacred time together, let's set the intention to move forward into our day and the week ahead in love, in gratitude, and in peace. I invite you to join in singing our closing song, Let There Be Peace on Earth. The words will be on your screen. Thank you for being with us, and have a wonderful week, everyone. Happy Mother's Day.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be with God. our family. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every breath I take, let this be my solemn vow to take